back. We were working on our rocket ship last time that we met. We should have been able to create the body of our rocket ship, the wings and flames. Now we've got two layers here, flames, and I have one that's called layer 1, which is actually my rocket ship. I can turn that layer off and you can see that it's the rocket ship. So I want to rename that layer. To rename the layer, you simply double click on there and you name it rocket. If you haven't done that, do so. So again, two layers, rockets and flames. Now the next step we want to do is we want to group these layers. We want to put these two layers in one group. So I'm going to hold down the shift key or the control key and select one or the other layer which is not highlighted, so that both of them are selected. Okay? Now to group them, I'm simply going to use a keyboard shortcut, and that's holding down Control and hitting G. So Control G, that puts it in a folder. And then you'll notice it's got a little arrow right beside the folder icon. If you click that, it'll open up and you can see the contents inside. So we have our rocket ship inside our folder. Now, I want to kind of rearrange the rocket on the screen. I want to move this so that it's kind of down in the lower right hand corner. But before I do that, I want to make sure I have the move tool selected. So the keyboard shortcut for move is V. And then that brings up the dialog box at the top. Now I want to move it as a group, not by layer, because I don't want to move the flames and the rocket ship separately. So there's this drop down. I'm going to select group. Now I can drag the rocket ship down. And I kind of want to hide the flames a little bit. So like this is the launching pad down here for our scene. Okay? So move your rocket kind of somewhere down in the lower right hand corner. And there we're going to use that as our launching point. Now we're going to add some text. We're actually going to put the text in. We're going to have a countdown to launch. Okay? So to do that, I'm simply going to select the text tool here. And once I select the text tool, let's change our font to Arial. So up in the drop down there, choose Arial and choose black, and then choose 48 point for the size. That's all at the top of the screen there, if you have the text tool selected. The text tool is located on the side toolbar about 3/4 of the way down. Okay, now, depending upon what your color looks like, I want to change this to black. I just click on that color, that brings up the dialog box, and I just want to change it to black. See what I can do? I can take my eyedropper and I can just go over to the swatches. Okay, you may have colors open. I like swatches. I want to choose black, and I'm going to choose OK. All right, everybody good? All right, so first text that I want to put down is I'm just going to click somewhere on the screen, and I'm going to type in the number 3. And then I'm going to hit enter or hit that accept button. And then I'm going to click anywhere right now. It doesn't really matter. I want to enter another number. So I'm going to put in 2.
Some pop.
Not right now, Nate. Maybe later. Thank you. And then I'm going to accept that. And then I want to do another one for 1 and accept that. So we're going to count down from 3 to 2 to 1. And these all should be separate layers here. Okay? So 3, 2, and 1. We good? Yeah. Alright, so now we've got our new text layers, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to do one more new text layer. So click again anywhere on the screen and type in we have liftoff. And if it goes off the screen, that's okay. You can readjust it. Hit the screen. Choose your move tool. No, I just hit enter. And maybe we can.
Is there a way I can pull it like that it's angled?
You want it angled?
Yeah, I want to go from bottom left to top right.
What, the rocket ship?
No, the wings.
We're going to rearrange them here in a second. Okay. So. So, the next thing we like to do is we want to take these layers and arrange them sort of in the fashion that we want them to appear on the screen. And I think we're going to kind of center these layers. I might put that one out of the way first. So I'm going to put the 3 here, and then I'm going to stack the 2 right on top of it, followed by the 1. And then very similar to it, yeah. All right. So we have 3, 2, 1 stacked up on one another, and then we have liftoff as our final explanation here. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go up to our drop down window menu, and if you do not have the timeline on there yet, we want to make sure there's a check mark by timeline in the window. Now I do have the timeline open, and you can see that the timeline is at the bottom of my window. Now there is a drop down box inside the timeline, and if you click on that drop down box, it gives you 2 options. You have create video timeline and you have create frame animation, and that's the one we're going to look at. We're going to choose create frame animation. Then we're going to choose create frame animation button, and that's going to change my timeline so we can see the frames. Okay? So right now we have 1 frame. Now, what I want to do next is I want to create a frame for each of the 4 layers of text that I have. Okay? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click the new frame button, which is down there by the trash can, and then kind of the bottom leftish. It's kind of by the play bar there where you have the fast forward, play 1 frame at a time, play, reverse, and so on. So I'm going to choose the new button 4 times. Okay? So I'm going to add 1 more frame because on the first frame I don't want any text to appear. So if you just notice what I did, I clicked on frame number 1 in my timeline. And I want to turn off the eye on all of the text. Okay. Now, we shouldn't see any flames jetting out, so the other thing I want to do is turn off the flames on the flames group, because we don't want any of the frames and then I'm going to click on frame number 2. On frame number 2, I want the text 3 to appear. And then on frame number 3, I want the text number 2 to appear. And then on frame number 4, I want the text 1 to appear. And then on frame number 5, I want no text to appear, but I do want the flames to start shooting out in the rocket ship. Okay? Alright, so we'll pause here. Okay, so frame animation is kind of like making a flip book. Have you ever taken pages of a book and then you drew a little animation on each page, and each page had it move? Basically, this is the same thing we're doing, is making a flip book. Now, there's an easier way, though, instead of creating each frame and then turning on and off the right layers. We want to use a tool called Tween, which allows us to create multiple layers. So down in the toolbar on the bottom there, right next to Create New Frame, is the Tween icon. Make sure frame number 5 is selected, and we want to choose a new frame. So frame number 6. Now I want to choose the Move tool, and I want to change that rocket ship's position to the top somewhere up there.
Oh, shortly.
All right. Has everybody got that?
No,
Make sure the flames go with it. If you choose group, move it straight up.
No.
Attention to detail. All right, so now we have frame 5 and 6. 5 is the start of the rocket ship. 6 is the ending position of our rocket ship. And then now we can choose that Tween icon tool. We're going to add 5 frames, so there's going to be a total of 5 frames in between the previous frame, 5 and 6. And then there we go. Had to be all layers. And so that created the 5 frames in between with the rocket ship. If you push play now. Alright. And it is awful fast. And we're going to manipulate that here in a second. But we want to add one more frame here at the end. So we're going to click the Create New Frame button. And we want to turn on, we have liftoff on that last frame. Alright. Now there's a couple things that we want to set and change the timing to. Right now we have 0 seconds for each of the frames. Now we want to select all the frames, so I'm going to select frame number 12 and then hold down Shift, select frame number 1. That highlights all of the the frames. And if you click the drop down arrow where it by 0 seconds on any of the frames, it's going to give you that pop-up dialog. I'm going to choose to 0.1 seconds.
1 or 1?
If you do highlight of all of the frames, you can set the time for all of the frames. And you can just click that drop down arrow and it applies it to all of them. Now, right now our animation is set just to play once. There is an option down at the bottom left hand corner where you can do it 3 times or forever. Okay, I'm going to choose forever, and then if I click play, now there's a couple things I want to change on mine. It looks like it's the 3, 2, 1 is going way too fast, so that's something I might want to change. Those first 4 frames, and I want to highlight those first 4 and delay maybe to a full second. That looks a little bit better. And then on the last frame where it says we have liftoff, I probably want to pause that a little longer, so I want to delay that to maybe like 2 seconds, so it sits there on that last one a little bit.
I feel like we should have a crash land someone is talking.
Alright, so keyframe animation, that's basically what we did, flip frame animation. We created frames from our layers, and we just used a tool called tween to move the rocket ship from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen. We used timing to slow down some of the animations and to speed up others. So the next step is to create the animation file that will show up on your website. So we have to go up to the file menu, and we're going to choose Save for Web. It's about halfway down that dialog box.
Oh, Lord.
That brings up a new dialog box. Now, we have several presets. I have a preset set to JPEG. I want to change that to GIF 128 dithered. Okay, so the GIF file will actually create this, make this animate on our website when we place it there. So once I have changed that to GIF, you can also play the animation then inside the dialog box just one final time to make sure everything looks okay. And that looks pretty good. And then I click Save. And it already has the name of the file, and you want to navigate to where you save your images in Photoshop. So, Computer Tech, Photoshop, and save. I want to go back to the Save for Web. Notice it has a preview button. And mine's set to preview in Internet Explorer. What does yours say?
Mine has like a globe in it.
Yeah.
Alright, click the drop down, choose Other.
Oh, shoot, okay.
That's going to bring up a dialog box. You want to navigate to the C drive or the hard drive. Right, and then in this hard drive you want to go to Program Files, do you have Program Files?
Have program files and program files.
x86.
Yeah.
I think it's an x86.
Google Chrome.
And you want to find Google, and then Chrome, and it looks like application, and then it has Chrome. If it automatically goes to it, that's fine.
I don't own a Google account.
And then preview it so you can see the animation in your web browser.